So as you lie here on your backs, taking time to arrive. You may never have practiced yoga before. You may not have had me as a teacher. You may have rushed here. So take time to settle your attention around what is here right now. And sometimes it can be interesting to notice where the attention wanders. Maybe you notice a car passing outside, or other sounds of the day. Maybe you even find that there are judgments attached to sounds, so that birdsong, for example, might feel beautiful, but traffic might be less so. Just noticing for now. And then you might find that your attention wanders to sounds in your own body, sounds of your body breathing. Maybe digesting. And then checking in with your physical body as your attention drops into sensations in your body. Are there parts of you that feel uncomfortable or tired? Or maybe there are parts of you that feel very at ease and open. Can you notice the points of contact between the back of your body and the floor? Take time to trace your attention from the back of the head all the way down to the shoulders, the ribs, the parts of your arms and hands that are in contact with the floor, the back of your pelvis, your legs and feet. Maybe having a sense of the floor rising up to meet you, to hold you, as you commit to gravity just a little bit more. And then please place your hands over your lower belly so that maybe the tips of your middle fingers touch, or maybe not. And if you're finding it uncomfortable lying down, you could do the following breathing practice sitting if you'd rather. You could even sit on a chair. And to begin with, all I'd like you to do is notice the sensation of air in your nostrils. Maybe notice the passage of air to the back of your nose, down into the throat, down the trachea where it divides in two into your lungs and then out again. Becoming very curious about the sensation of air moving in and out of your body. And next time you breathe in, you're going to consciously bring the breath down so that you feel your belly expanding underneath your hands, as if you're filling the bottom third of a balloon with water. And as you breathe out, allow that balloon to empty, feeling the contents of your abdomen moving back towards the spine. And please continue to take a few more breaths like this. And just noticing as you draw your breath deep down, whether you're tensing up in the face at all, whether you're pushing too hard. Noticing the diaphragm, this band of muscle under the ribs. As you breathe in, it flattens down onto the contents of your abdomen. And then as you breathe out, it floats up under the ribs like a jellyfish. When we're anxious, it's really useful to come into this deep abdominal breathing. And then please slide your hands up the torso so they're around the rib cage now. You might even press them in just a little bit so you have a sense of holding your ribs. And now as you breathe, you'll direct the breath into the rib cage. So you'll feel the ribs expanding under your hands out to the front and out to the sides. And you might feel the back of your ribs pressing into the mat. And on the exhale, the ribs float back in again. This practice is a very traditional breathing practice, which is enabling us to breathe more fully into each section of our lungs. Because quite often we breathe shallow. And you're not trying to strain the breath at all, just feeling this midsection expanding and dropping with the breath. And then sliding your fingertips to your collarbones. Just allowing the elbows to drop towards the floor. And this is the most shallow section of the lungs, right up at the top. So you might like to, first of all, breathe into the ribs again, like you did before, expand the ribs, but then at the top, at the end of the inhale, sip in the breath to fill up right up to the collarbones, as if you're breathing into the tips of your shoulders. And then breathe out from the top down. If it's awkward to breathe into the ribs first and then up to the collarbones, just simply imagine the top third of your balloon that you're just filling up with water. To the front, to the sides, and to the back. And then let that go. Release your hands wherever they're most comfortable. Just taking a couple of natural breaths. And you're going to visualize this balloon that you've been filling with water from the very bottom right up to the top. And see what it feels like to, with one breath in, fill the balloon with water. So you fill it into the bottom third. You continue filling into the mid third where the ribs are, and then sipping it up right up to the top. You might pause at the top and then gently pour out the breath like water from the balloon. So we're looking for a steady, smooth, fuller breath without strain. This really is a go-to practice for me as often as I can remember to do it. As a way to remember the breath, to feel the breath in the body, and to bring more oxygen into every cell of the body, and to calm the nervous system. And then when you're ready, there's no hurry. I want to take it very gentle today. Returning to natural breath, sliding your legs long if they're not already. And simply noticing how you feel after quite a long breathing practice. And I'll read a very short poem by David White called Enough. Enough. These few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here, this opening to the life we have refused again and again, until now. Until now. Now, in this lying down position, please take your feet wide so they're pointing towards each corner of the mat. And allow your arms to slide out a little bit wider. So both legs are long, feet pointing towards the corner of the mat. I'm going to come into a practice called Kriya, which is a very simple movement with the breath into some of the joints. So it's like a very gentle flossing of the joints. So bringing your attention to your ankles, to your feet, take a breath in, your toes are pointing out at this stage. And then with the breath out, begin to turn your feet so that your big toes are moving inwards, as if you're going to try and touch the floor with the big toes, but you probably won't be able to. And use the breath in to gently turn the feet out again. Maybe your little toes touch the floor, maybe they don't. And use the breath out to turn the toes inwards again. And continue like this. And what you're really trying to do is synchronize the movement with the breath. So the whole of the movement lasts the whole of the breath, whether it's the in-breath or the out-breath. And you'll probably notice that although I've asked you to initiate the movement from your toes, that there's movement in the ankles that travels all the way up to movement in the hips. So sometimes I teach in a very subtle way where I'm inviting your attention into the tiny details as your bones articulate in your joints. And maybe you find obstruction sometimes. Or maybe you find that the movement is fluid and oily and easy at other times. If you want to try and take your feet a bit wider, Kelly. Yeah, perfect. Just gives a little bit more range for movement. If you want to do this with your legs extended, we've got our legs wide, and just turning to them, and then turning in, so you get this little movement in the lips and there, that's perfect. Both feet at the same time, turn out at the same time, turn in at the same time. Fabulous, and then let that go. And please place your palms so that they're facing down towards the floor. Really aware of each finger and thumb. And this time as you breathe in, you're going to gently roll the hand up. So you're rolling over the little finger, your thumb will point towards the ceiling. And the back of your hand will eventually come towards the floor. And as you breathe out, you gently roll back again, slowly over the back, and then the palm of the hand. And again, you're articulating the breath with the full movement, which is not only the hand and the wrist, but you'll feel it into the shoulders, probably. That's really great. Very simple, beautiful, flossing, soothing practice. With some of these more gentle, subtle movements, something that might help you in terms of visualizing or imagining is that you're recently hatching out of a pupa. You're just recently hatching into this world and noticing that you have skin, noticing that you have limbs and joints. Noticing that you can move, albeit quite subtly right now. Feeling the air around you. Fabulous. And then let that go. You could have your palms up or down. And then bring your attention to the weight of your head on the floor. The weight of your head. And take a breath in, and as you breathe out, slowly roll your head to the left. Feeling the weight of your head, giving you a bit of a massage. Inhale to the top. Exhale to the right. And continue like this. You're inhaling to look to the ceiling. And you're exhaling to turn to one side. Feeling into the movement of the neck, which might travel down the rest of your spine if you notice it. Slowly waking up the body. Fabulous. And then let that go. Notice how you feel. And we're going to try and join these three movements together, which is a little bit more of a challenge for the brain. So start with the palms down, and the toes pointing outwards, and your head is looking towards the ceiling. Actually, let's make this slightly different. Turn your head to look towards the left. And then with one breath in, begin to turn the toes in, lift the thumbs towards the ceiling, look towards the ceiling. With the same breath in, look towards the right. The palms of your hands are open towards the ceiling, your toes are into the middle. So that's just one breath in to come one way. And then as you breathe out, slowly turn your head back again as you bring your palms to the floor and your toes out to the sides. So if you find this difficult, that would be normal. Just slowly trying to synchronize the movement of the feet with the hands, with the head on the breath in. And then the hands, the feet, and the head with the breath out. So be patient with yourselves. You may or you may not have done this before. It's looking really good. And take a few more rounds, linking up the feet with the hands, the head with the breath. Really great. Feeling your way into subtle, gentle movement, lubricating the joints. Generally, synchronizing breath with movement is one of the best ways of coming into the present moment. And in so doing, triggering the branch of our nervous system which helps us relax, brings us into our intuitive, creative selves. The parasympathetic nervous system. Away from the stress, the need to achieve, the need to survive. Feel free to take a couple more rounds and then gradually come to stillness, come to noticing the effects of this practice so far. And as you settle into your own stillness, just noticing now if there's any change. What does it feel like to breathe? What's the quality of the contact between your body and the floor? What's your sense of the space around you in the day? Fantastic. Please stand your feet on the floor now. And to take a few moments to just check in if the back of your pelvis and your lower back are comfortable, because you'll need to arrange your feet either further or closer from the buttocks, either closer together or further apart. And then please interlace your hands behind your head so that the back of your head is just resting in your interlaced hands, your elbows are out. And I'd like you to bring your attention to begin with to the back of your pelvis. So there's a big bone, the sacrum, which you might feel against the mat here. And you're going to gently roll towards the tailbone. So as you roll towards the tailbone, there's a little tunnel that creates under your lower back, maybe big enough for a mouse to scurry through. And your pelvis is tilting forwards. And then you begin to roll back again so that you flatten the sacrum, you flatten your lower back on the floor. And you're pressing into your feet a little, maybe you feel that. And please continue like this, gently rolling the pelvis forwards. Gently rolling it back. So we did this on Saturday, I think we did it on Monday night. So this is a very useful practice for bringing attention into the way the spine moves with the pelvis. That's lovely. So I'm just trying to keep us standing up. You're doing this, you're tilting the pelvis forwards, rolling back, but you're doing it on your back, with your feet standing on the floor. Gently bringing movement into the lower spine. And usually this movement is soothing. It might or it might not be for you. And some of you will notice that although we initiate the movement in the pelvis and the lower spine, there's a bit of a conversation up the spine. It's a ripple of movement up, and you might even notice your head moving. We're going to add something to this, and I cannot emphasize enough that this is not about yanking your head in any way. You're going to inhale and roll over the tailbone, creating that little tunnel in your lower back. But now, as you flatten the lower back, begin to bring your elbows towards each other. And as if your hands were a hammock, gently lift your head so you're looking through your knees. So you're not using the muscles of the neck, you're giving everything into the hands. And then as you slowly inhale, you open your elbows, your head comes back. You roll the pelvis forwards again. And on the exhale, flattening the back, pressing the feet down, elbows together, to peel your head up. There's a lot to articulate. If you're not used to my teaching, my instructions, it might take a while. It's looking good so far. So this is an example of a movement which you could interpret as a sit-up, but that is not what we're doing. But try to bring your elbows close together to lift your head. It will help you. And continue like this, looking for smooth, steady movement. Smooth, steady breath. Feeling into the neck without stretching the neck, feeling the weight of your head in your hands. Brilliant. Next time you come down, please stay down. If you're comfortable with your head in your hands, please leave the hands where they are. And we're going to add more to this. And again, this is not about fitness, it's about synchronizing movement. So again, your pelvis rolls forwards on the breath in. But this time, as you roll the pelvis back, you bring your elbows together. You lift your left knee towards you, And you bring your right elbow past the left knee, so you're looking to the left. It's a little bit of a twist in the spine. Inhaling to come back down again. And then continue this gently rotating to the left, with the left knee lifting. And there will be a temptation to go as far as you can. I want you to try and back off that temptation. Make it about the quality of movement rather than a sense of developing a flat abdomen and strong side waist. This is about getting the spine to rotate and about your ability to articulate quite complex set of movements, looking really good. And after you've done one more to the left, resting, the foot down, the head down, maybe take a breath or two. And then begin to do the same thing to the other side. Fantastic. Really fantastic. So you're getting a little lift of the ribs and shoulders as well as rotating in the spine. Whatever you're doing, can you try and do it 20% less? There's so much temptation, and I'm exactly the same, to go as far as possible. It's how we are socialized, to try and push ourselves rather than to do less. And it can be quite interesting to observe what happens when we give ourselves permission to do less. Counter all the stream of influence and pressure around us. Beautiful. Next time you come down, slide your feet long, legs long, rest your arms by your sides. And give yourself time to really feel the body resting here. Feeling the quality of your breath. We're going to come into a pose which is not really a moving pose. It's a slightly different style. It's called Bananarasana. So banana will give you a sense of the shape. And we're doing it to bring some sensation and breath into the side body. So I'd like you to bring the whole of your body straight along the right side of your mat. So you're lining yourself up on the right side of your mat. And then float your arms over your head to the floor. And then begin to shuffle your feet around to the left. Maybe aiming for the far left corner of the mat. And you'll begin to feel the skin probably outside of the right hip, the ribs, the waist. Only go as far as feels right for you. And then begin to shuffle the shoulders, the head, and the arms also around to the left. So you're creating a banana shape. And you don't have to go too far. And then I want you to check in with yourself. Might it be nice to take your right ankle over the left ankle? Give you a little bit of a richer sensation. Or you could try the other ankle over the top, see what's right for you. And then you're going to use your left thumb and forefinger to hold around the right wrist. And again, you're not yanking, but you're just gently easing that right arm by pulling it a little bit with the left hand around to the left. So you're creating this C shape in the spine. And then I'd like you to take a full breath in. And as you breathe out, consciously drop through the right shoulder and the right hip. So drop them towards the floor. So some people will be able to have the right arm nice and straight, bring it around. Some people find obstruction there. And then when you've settled, I'll leave you to take a few really conscious deep breaths into the right side of the body. So you might feel the right lung, the ribs, the side waist and the hip. It's almost as if you're gently easing the skin off the right side of your body by pulling on the ribs. Trying not to seize up in the jaw, trying not to tense up any other part of the body. And take a full breath in and then release on the exhale. Release your ankles, float your arms down by your sides and see if you can straighten the body up. Just looking down towards your toes to see that you're straight. And then lining your body up on the left side of the mat. So coming over to the left side, lying along the edge of the left side. Floating your arms over your head. And shuffling your feet around to the right. And they've gone as far as they'll go, shuffling your shoulders and arms around to the right. And then maybe taking the left ankle over the right, holding the left wrist with your thumb and forefinger. So you have a sense of not yanking, but an easing into the left side of the body. And take a full breath in. And then as you breathe out, drop the left hip, drop the left shoulder towards the mat consciously. Beautiful. And now take some beautiful big breaths into the left side of the body. Feel the body letting go on the long exhalations. And it may be that without trying, your body has remembered that full 3-part breath that we took a long time to practice at the beginning. Imagining that balloon of water, but now feeling it out to the side of the body. And then taking a full breath in and letting everything go on the exhale. And sliding the body back into a straight line, checking you're in a straight line, arms by your sides. Take a moment to notice how you feel. And from here, find it organising yourself so that you can roll over to your belly. So I'm bending up one knee, pressing one foot into the floor to help me roll over, but you might come another way. I'm making a pillow for your hands. So, pillow for your head, excuse me. So your forehead rests on your hand, one is placed upon the other. And if it's difficult to lie on your belly for any reason, you could come to doing this standing up. So just remember what I said, you don't have to do anything that isn't right for you. And I'd like you to visualize your neck is much longer than usual. I'd like you to visualize your neck as beginning in between your shoulder blades, so right at the back of the ribs. And then from this point, beginning to gently lift the chest. And you can use your eyes to slide along the floor. Maybe the eyes will slide up the wall in front of you, but you're not going too high. And when you've reached as far as you can go, you pause and then slowly come back down. And I'm intentionally not telling you how to breathe now, because you might want to take several breaths as you explore this movement of the thoracic spine and the neck. Long neck gently peels the chest up. That's really good. That's lovely, Melody. So if you're pushing with your hands and forearms, you're cheating. I can see. This is not about coming up as high as you can. It's about getting movement into the upper part of the spine, the mid part of the spine. So this middle section of our spine, the thoracic, it has the rib cage wrapped around it, and we have limited movement here. It's really hard to get into it. This is what we're trying to do. It's not about pushing up. I'm sure you could make a beautiful shape if you pushed. It's about encouraging a little bit more mobility into this part of the spine. That's looking really lovely. Just doing a few more, or resting if you need to. You might notice that you press into your pubic bone. You might notice you press into your feet a little. That's okay. And I can see, just looking, I can't see you at home, but in the room, I can see that the back of everyone's rib cage is completely different. And some of you have got really restricted movement here. Hello, Mary. And some of you are clearly quite free in this area. It's just very interesting to observe the differences and for you to observe how you change over time. Okay, resting next time you come down. And please slide your arms out in front of you. And now we will synchronize movement with the breath. Next time you breathe in, you're only going to lift the right leg off the floor, but your head is on the floor. And you'll probably feel the muscles of the lower back working. You hover the right leg off the floor, and then you breathe out and slowly lower it down. Please continue with the right right leg only. Lifting and gently bringing down. And just notice for now where you feel the effort. Fabulous. Next time you come down, staying down, take a breath. And then in your own time, begin with the left leg. Inhale to lift. Exhale, come down. So if you're someone with lower back pain, you want to take it easy with this, just only lifting 2 before you feel discomfort. Okay, let's let that go. Keep your arms where they are. And we're going to do a diagonal movement. So when you're ready, you're going to lift your right leg and your left arm. And if your head and chest come off the mat, that's fine, but they don't have to. Diagonal effort across the body, and then gently float them down again. And just take a few rounds still with the right leg and the left arm. Feeling out from the toes to the fingertips, really enervating and activating the muscles of the back of the body. Very good for strengthening the back. Excellent. Making the one you're on, the last one, settling. And then when you're ready, taking it to the left leg and the right arm. Okay, having a little rest. And next time, see what this feels like. As you breathe in, can you lift everything off the floor, your chest and head, your arms and your legs? And as you breathe out, gently lower everything down, slowly synchronizing with the breath. And continue like that. You're stretching from your fingers to your toes. Whole of the back of the body alive with sensation and effort. But remembering to back off when it gets too much. Next time you come down, rest. And I'm just going to, for those of you on Zoom, I'm just going to show you a movement that I'd like you to do if you want to lift your heads. And those of you in the center, I'll come up to show you don't need to look. When you're on your bellies, you're going to have your arms here and lift on the inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to open your wings, slide the shoulder blades down the back. I'll come and show you. I'll just show you people on the... When you're ready, you're going to lift everything up to the feet. On the inhale, as you exhale, keep your legs up and you slide the shoulder blades down the back. It's a bit more of an effort, it's like swimming. You inhale to lengthen. Exhale, slide back. So you do as many as you can before you come down to, maybe do 5 and then come down to rest. Or 1 if that's all you want to do. Fantastic. So you're really activating the back of the body. So at home, just doing 5 of those. Swimming in the air. Until you're ready to rest back down. And we're going to, so for some reason, everyone in the centre is facing the back of the room. That's entirely my fault. We're going to gently come to a child's pose, but if you could do that facing me. So bring yourself to all fours, turn yourself around. And we're going to start child's pose by sitting, some of you might not have done this before, we're going to sit on our heels with the spine up. Is everyone okay? We had a long time on the floor. We're going to come up now. Yeah, if you can't kneel, can you come into child? If child's not good for you, you could just lie on your belly a bit longer. But the reason I've got you sitting on your heels, if you can, is just to slump out the lower back, which is not often what you're asked to do. So rather than sit upright, you're slumping out the lower back. And have you, maybe if you take your knees a little bit apart, and then you begin to slide. Slide isn't the right word. You roll your belly onto your thighs, you roll your chest down. Forehead comes down either to the mat or on top of your hands. And you come into a little bit of stillness. Really quiet, really still. Notice your breath. Can you soften a little bit more around the shoulders and ribs, the hips and buttocks, the forehead? Beautiful. Okay, please come back to all fours and curl your toes under. So if anything is tough on the knees, we're not going to be doing a lot on our knees, but that's where you can put a blanket underneath your knees. But for now, with your toes curled under, sit your bottom back to your heels. So Kelly and Pan, you've done this with me already. And your arms are straight, so you're not taking your elbows, your head to the floor, and just allow your head and your neck to dangle. So you shouldn't feel that you're really pushing into the hands. I'd much rather you feel the weight coming into your bottom and legs, right to the back of the body. Beautiful. And then from here, all you're going to do is lift your knees about 5 centimeters off the floor. It's tough.
I've got a fused toe joint or belly back. It's the
Okay.
There's no cartilage, so the bones are fused together.
So
It
doing
goes that way, but it doesn't go.
Can you come up like that a bit? So you're on the balls of your feet rather than your toes.
I'm on this side, but I have to do like that.
And then come back.
More to my feet. No, I can go flat though.
Okay, so maybe for you, come up and stay. But those of you who are able to move your toes and your feet, I have to look into that melody. You're going to gently lift your knees up and then slowly unfold, allowing the pelvis to pull forwards, spine to lengthen. So we're lifting all the way into downward dog now. Gently coming back down again. So it's a moving in and out of. So let me just come to you, Melody, and see what's going on. So you would probably, yeah. So often down the dog we talk like this. You come from here, step back, exactly you'll be fine. Yeah. But this, which is asking a hell of a lot.
Because I can adjust that when that also I'm trying to sort of do. I know it's not right. It's the other way I can kind of go from there. So,
What happens if you do this? And then like that.
well, it's
I'm just trying to think of the line that you're using. Keep going, everyone at home and here. You can rest and child if it gets too much. This is Kelly. This is what would have made your legs wobbly. Yeah, this is tough on the legs. Before that,
I've had an operation too. It was on stage.
it was after
Stage arthritis in the street. And this is on stage as well. I have food some.
I still think what we're doing is quite good for strength.
Yeah.
Just do it, and then at the last minute, whatever you need to do. It's not like
So do that, and then maybe.
Exactly. So you're still getting this beautiful tilt of your hands, lovely, not small. You're still opening the whole body now, see? That's beautiful. But you come in and out of it only as much as feels comfortable for you. Maybe doing 2 or 3 more, unless you need to rest. How does it feel today, Kelly?
Yeah, it's a bit strong.
This really builds strength in the legs.
This is what made my body.
Yeah, it's quite deceptive. It's tough. It's not really for gentle yoga, but I think we need strength for it, even in a gentle class. Okay, maybe doing 1 more if you've got it in you, and then coming to rest in child. Coming back to still body, quiet breath. And we're going to do a variation of what we've just done. I don't know how this will be for you, Melody. Let's see. You're going to come onto your forearms. But sorry, if we start on all fours, you come up. And then you come down on your forearms and you curl your toes under. So you'll feel a bit more busy in the upper body now. So when I said before you weren't pressing into your hands, now you will probably feel your forearms pressing as you lift up just as like you did before. Harder to get your heels towards the floor. And then you gently drop the knees down. Keep the neck relaxed, the head relaxed as you gently lift, opening out the legs as far as feels right for you. And then gently bend the knees, bring them down. Does that feel more accessible, Melody, or is that still?
No, absolutely. No, I can, yeah, it feels more accessible. We could just getting up.
Yeah.
That initial getting up and that initial.
Okay, that's fine with me if you're happy with that. Just notice how this feels. Notice how the ribs, the shoulders, how the upper body is working a lot harder. Doesn't matter. Just let them. Sometimes my teacher just has them kind of rolling around. It just doesn't actually matter. What I'm interested in is the lifting of your bottom, the length of your spine, the length of your side body. It doesn't even matter if you don't straighten out your legs. Do you want to have a go at doing that? Or is that just a little bit too tough? So you come onto you start on all fours. And then you bring your forearms down. Remember you can rest and curl whenever you want. It does get tiring. Then in case you want to do it. And then you lift like that. Your elbows are on the floor. Look at my forearms. My elbows are on the floor. Exactly, and then you come up from there. If you want to. Okay. Making the one you're on, the last one, and resting in the pose of the child. We're going to do a third variation in a minute. So the pose we just did is Dolphin Pose, and I love it it brings a brightness into my upper body. I don't know if you feel that, like it's done a lot on the lower body, but it kind of brings the energy up the body a bit. Final version. Just so that you know, just so you don't think I'm kidding you, we're not coming into a headstand in case you have that fear about you. But you might want to roll up your mat or put a blanket here. Please don't do anything until you have watched what I'm doing. You have your toes curled under. You have your hand, the alignment here is important. You have your hands placed on the floor, about level with the end of your knees. And then you bring your forehead to the mat. Now watch what I'm doing. This is all about moving into the neck. That's all that really matters. And you get a lovely massage for your head. You gently roll onto the top of your head, lengthening out the back of the neck. So we kind of did this on our backs. We had our head in our hands, do you remember? And then we roll back again. And now this might be, for you, having this much pressure on the top of your head might feel, oh, I don't really want to do more than this. If you're someone who is happy to come up further, you come up onto the tips of your toes, trying to straighten your spine, and then you bring your knees back down. And we're not going to go any further than that. So let's line up, heels of the hands a little bit beyond the knees, I would say, a bit in front, yeah. Curl your toes under. Bring your forehead down. Just see how you feel here. Because a lot of people feel frightened about headstand, and I'm not really interested in whether you get your legs, you lift up or not at all. I'm just interested in the movement of the neck and the head. Begin to roll onto the top of your head, so you create length in the back of the neck. And then you roll back again onto your forehead. Maybe even the tip of your nose touches the floor. Perfect. And just continue like this for a few rounds. Remember, it's the gentle movement that is good for you. See if you can keep both knees on the floor, Anne, if that's possible for you. And it may be that this is where you want to stay, just continuing with this gentle rocking. Or you might begin to lift your knees, lift your bottom up. So you're resting on the tips of your big toes, and then you come back down again. Only lifting your bottom if that's right for you. Perfect. And coming back down again. So you articulate gentle, repetitive movement. So just keeping going, Anne. I'm just wondering if this feels safe to you. Not Anne, Melody. Does it feel safe for your neck?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is good. You're getting a lot of the benefits of headstand without coming into the full pose. It's an inversion. Your head is beneath your heart. Which is really good for the circulatory system. Just taking a few more rounds before you rest in child. You're doing all right. Lovely. If you haven't already, come in to settle in a child's pose, either arms outstretched or hands under your head. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back into a downward dog the way we did. So curling under your toes, bringing your arms out front, and slowly lifting into your dog. This time when you're up here, you walk your feet and your hands together. So you're ending up standing in a standing forward fold. We're going to take a little bit of time here, bend your knees so that you really feel the whole of the upper body pouring out of the pelvis. You can even wave it a little bit from side to side, you can bounce it a little. You might like to roll your shoulders around in one direction, roll them in the other direction. If you found what we were doing tough on the wrists, you could use this as an opportunity to circle into the wrists in one direction and then in the opposite direction. And then we're going to come up. I want you to imagine you're a rag doll, but slowly, slowly, bone by bone, you're going to come up, your shoulders and head rolled forwards until right at the end. Feel each vertebra stacking upon the next. And eventually your shoulders roll back, your head perches on top of your head. Not shoulders, lovely, spine. And we're going to continue with these spinal rolls because it's brilliant for the health of the spine. Just keep a loose bend in the knee and then begin with your chin first, then your shoulders. Gently roll yourself down. Slowly, slowly, slowly flopping towards the floor. And everyone will do this at a different pace. You gently come all the way up. Take your own time. And it's also fine if it's hard to come down with your feet close together. You can take your feet wider apart and there's more space for the upper body to fit. That's relevant for you. Keep bending in the knees. We're not trying to stretch the hamstrings here. It's much more about the spine and the pelvis. And the next time you come up, please stay up. And I'll show you a variation to this spinal rolling. You're going to turn to one side, it doesn't matter which side. And you're going to roll down the side of the body, and it feels a little bit more awkward, so just see how you go, see how your knees need to bend. And what you're going to do is go up and down one side. Just join in when you're ready. You straighten at the top, and then you go around the other side. And it's quite, well, if you're anything like me, it's quite a useful opportunity now to notice where there's tightness in the body. I feel really tight when I do this, my hips. Ribs, yeah. So just keep going from side to side, unfurling like the frond of a fern. Amazing. The more you bend your knees, the more you'll be able to free the pelvis, free the spine. So look at your, notice if you're gripping your toes, see what it's like to let the toes go. And make sure you've done a symmetrical, same amount to each side before you come to rest and standing. That's really good. When you come to rest and standing, just notice if you feel any different, if you can really feel through the soles of your feet. Let's use the breath again. Let's breathe in and bring our arms out wide to the top. Maybe your palms meet, maybe they don't, and breathe out, arms down by your sides. Now, you might want to continue doing exactly this. Plenty, these big angel breaths. Or you might like to join in with me. Come into a half sun salutation. You breathe in and come up. And you breathe out, and with the heart, lead forwards and swan dive down. Bend at the knees, fingers to the floor or to your shins. And breathe in, straighten your legs and bring your chest out in front of you. Lovely long spine. And breathe out, fold completely. Pressing into your feet, breathing in, come all the way up, sweeping the air to the sides of your body, all around to the top. Exhale, hands to your heart, and we keep going. Use the breath to move you. This is the point. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lovely. Breathe in, straight legs, chest out in front of you. And breathe out, fold, navel to the spine. Press into your feet to bring you all the way up, arms out wide. And continue in your own time without me yabbering. And doing one more before you come to stand still. Beautiful. Interlacing your hands and bringing them over the heart. Take a breath in. Breathe out, push your palms out in front of you. As you breathe in, you're going to lift your arms, but you're also going to lift your heels. And as you breathe out, bring your heels to the floor. And continue like this, breathing into lift. Either a little bit or a lot. Breathing out to come down. So we're looking for lengthen the spine, lengthen the side body, as well as a little balance. If it's too much to interlace the hands, you could just have them out like this. Some of you might like to continue the moving, and some of you might like to come up and stay for 5 breaths. Keep your gaze fixed to one point. Stay breathing, soften the face. Take a full breath in, and then everybody release the arms as you drop your heels. Beautiful. Take a moment, feel the body. We're going to do one more part of the standing practice before we come down. All I want you to do, we're going to keep this relatively simple, is take the weight into your left foot. You just come onto your right big toe. The important thing is to keep your eyes, try to keep them into one place, either ahead of you or on the floor. This is your drishti. And then all I want you to do is to lift the right knee. See how this feels for the left foot and ankle, the left leg. You can release your arms if you want to. And now, just going to see what happens when you move around a bit with the leg lifted. It's much harder than actually staying still. Really hard bit is to look up towards the ceiling. To look down towards the floor. Yeah. So just have a little wobble around. I'm very wobbly. Exactly. And just notice all the work that the muscles of your left foot and ankle and leg are doing just to keep you with the right leg raised. I'm just going to give you a couple of ideas if you want to. It's absolutely fine to stay upright, but at some stage you might like to gently come into a version of Warrior 3. You don't have to do this. So have a little play. So good for the leg muscles, the feet muscles, ankles. So good for our egos. Well, not good to bolster them up, but good to put them into perspective. Really good. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You really,
That foot was completely splayed, so I really struggled with it.
yeah, but you did so well then. My foot's aching and I haven't apparently got a problem with this. When you're ready to change to the other side. Remember, we start simple with the knee lifted, just moving around a bit. And today it might be enough to do this, or maybe you come into looking at arm. Oh, see, I can't do it. And then coming down. Maybe coming into Warrior 3. Things, when things get tougher, what do you notice in yourself? Keep going. Notice if you stop breathing. Yeah. Notice if you think that clenching your teeth is going to help you. believe it or not, clenching your teeth doesn't help you balance.
Side is definitely easier than the other.
Definitely. Well, for most people, just notice. It's really useful what Melody said. Just notice for yourself which feels easier.
One foot isn't quite such a bad because the other one.
Exactly. One thing is for sure when we balance, in fact, someone was on Radio 4 talking about balance yesterday. One thing is for sure when we balance is that we can't really do much with our thinking mind. Everything's drawn in to focus, and that's really why we're doing it, as well as all the muscular strengthening, the bone density. Okay, slowly come back to the ease of both feet on the earth. And just shut your eyes and feel the floor support you, feel the space around you. Notice the quality of your breath. And please bring yourself to sitting. We're going to do a breathing practice seated. It's absolutely fine to sit on a chair. Don't feel you've got to sit cross-legged on the floor. Sit on your block. You can make a cushion out of your blanket. You could have your legs out wide. As long as you can feel your sitting bones, yeah, that's great. You can use blankets, bricks to prop up your knees. I just want you to be able to feel your sitting bones and to feel a gentle lift of the spine up and out of the pelvis. That's all I would like. And then you're going to bring your hands as if they're holding a ball, as low down as they'll go. The back of my hands are resting on my thighs. And it doesn't matter if the tips of the fingers meet or not, but they might be a little bit apart. And then close your eyes. And first of all, notice how soft you can become in your wrists and your fingers. It's amazing how much tension we hold in the hands. Notice what it feels like to breathe right now. We're going to bring a very simple movement in with the breath. If you need to watch me, please do, and then join in when you're ready. But it's very slow. As you breathe in, you're going to lift this ball. You can imagine it's a ball of light up the front of your spine until it comes about level with your eyebrows. And then you flip your hands over and you breathe out and you slowly come back down. So you find your rhythm so that you can synchronize the lifting of your hands with one breath in and the coming down of your hands with one breath out. Not forcing anything, keeping it very soft and gentle. And you might have a sense of, on the way up, lifting the energy from the very base of your spine all the way up. Maybe it becomes lighter as you come up. And then encouraging it back down again, very lovingly with your hands as you breathe out, down to the base. This is called Prana Mudra. We're working with the subtle energetic body. Releasing the lower jaw away from the upper jaw. softening the throat and the roof of the mouth. Maybe taking another 4 round before you simply rest the hands on your legs and you return to natural breath. And you're welcome to take the final few minutes of your practice in a seated meditation, or after everything we've been doing, I would recommend coming to lying down. Make sure you're warm enough, make sure you're comfortable. We didn't use the brick in the end, we ran out of time. And is everyone in the room okay if I go over to 25 to 12? No one has to leave at 11:30 on the dot. Are you okay with that?
Sorry.
I just would like to make sure you have a rest for 5 minutes. It's just in case you had to rush out at 1:30. And same at home, if you need to leave, that's fine. So arrange your legs and arms and head in such a way that you are able to drop into all sensations that are present here for you right now. A bit like at the beginning of the practice, just simply setting your attention free to wander. Giving yourselves into the force of gravity, letting it have you. And gently beginning to take a few slightly deeper breaths, feeling the rise and fall of your abdomen with the breath. And I'm going to read a poem by Kafka. As you begin to introduce very gentle movements into your body, your choice, rolling into the joints, maybe like we did at the beginning of the practice. You need not leave the room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. You need not even listen. Simply wait. Just learn to become quiet and still and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has not choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. So you might be rolling your head gently from side to side. It's really nice to rub the hands quite vigorously. Get the heat of the palms over your eyes. And gently moving to come onto one side of the body before you join me sitting. There's no hurry. And as you come to this final part of the practice, sitting maybe with your hands together at the heart, maybe not, maybe your eyes are open, maybe they're closed. Just taking note of how you feel now, how you encountered the practice, how you're breathing. And then take a full breath into the heart. And allow the breath out to drop your head, bring your chin to your chest. And the next breath in will lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Thank you at home.